All right. Hello and welcome to Walking the Wheel. I'll be your host today. My name is Ashley Nicole, and I'm with Unlock Your Design. Today we are unlocking more than just an archetype, we're unlocking a zodiac season. So we happen to have transitioned into Libra season yesterday. 22nd of September. So we will be focusing on getting to know this season, knowing what's coming, what's it about. Even if you're not a Libra, it's important to understand the energies that are running through you, that are supporting this next month, and to understand what it is about. Because if you can work in harmony with the season, things will flow better. If you are an Aries or have a lot of Aries placements, Libra season is not going to feel natural to you, but we can get to know her and we can learn to balance things, to weigh things, to allow ourselves to pause before we take initiative. Aries is fire. Aries is about going and taking that first step. And Libra is a little bit more indecisive in the way that she weighs things, figure things out, and steps forward with confidence. So I'm gonna first and foremost share a little bit about what Libra season is, and we'll have a chance to introduce the archetypes that are living in Libra season as well. So, like we always do, the method that we use to approach these systems are walking the wheel. Walking the wheel is a way of walking with the transits. So, every 5 days, we interact with a new archetype. That archetype is illuminated by the sun, and it's kind of like our cosmic curriculum. It's activated inside of us and it's activated in the collective. And so we're going to see this in our world, in ourselves. And just like we're walking the wheel with the archetypes, we're also walking the wheel with the zodiac seasons. And this is just bringing mindfulness to your 365 days around the calendar. It's just bringing mindfulness. It's saying, okay, instead of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're actually describing a week transit. We're saying this is the archetype, this is the energy, this is the assignment, this is what you can use to this archetype, about this archetype to support you. So walking the wheel is very much like it's something we subscribe to. And when you bring your mindfulness to things, you are able to start to learn, understand, master them, and embody these archetypes, embody these qualities. So you're not just the 26 activations that you have in your human design chart, you are actually all 64. You're all 64 activations. Now, you may not have something defined in your human design or gene keys, but every year you get to experience and relate with each of these archetypes. They come to visit you 6 days in the year, and actually more like 12 when you're talking about the sun and the earth activation, because we're going to see this archetype twice, once in the sun activation and once in the earth. And that's not even mentioning the other planets. So you're going to meet this archetype, you're going to spend some time with it. And so the more we can get to know it, come into harmony and balance with it, the more we're in balance in ourselves, the more easy it is to move through life because we're not getting pushed over or triggered or swayed by some of these archetypes. And when the shadow shows up, we know how to shift it. So that's why we walk the wheel. So this is Libra. Libra corresponds to the seventh house. It corresponds to Venus. The seventh house is about partnerships, marriages, one-on-one relationships, alliances, or conflicts with others, and it can be about legal matters. It's also a really good mediator. It's a really good arbiter. It's a really good person that comes in between. It's very good at being unbiased. So Libra season asks us to balance opinions, balance sides, bring harmony to our relationships. You can see these are the archetypes that are living in Libra, that are Libra archetypes. We've got the 46, the 18, the 48, the 57, the 32, and the 50. The 46 is predominantly Libra. It is a bridge between Virgo and Libra, and we're currently in the transit of the 46 right now. So the sensual is bridging us into Libra season. Hi, sensual. So her energy moves from seriousness to ecstasy through the pathway of delight. Since this is the archetype that's in transit right now, you might be feeling, you know, a call to your body. You might be feeling serendipity, luck, delight, maybe seriousness. Maybe you got pulled into the thralls of seriousness. But once you know, right, you can do something about it. You can shift it. You're not a victim of the transits or the archetypes. They're just here to teach you how to get into balance with them because they're different. They're all different. So this is the sensual. And hopefully you have some time that you're going to get to spend with her these next couple days to really tune into your body, to tune into your delight, to tune into the senses. And we'll talk a little bit more about her later, but I just wanted to introduce her because she is the first archetype of Libra season. She's what is in transit right now, and our discussion later on will be about her. So we're so lucky to be able to have her alive in the collective right now. Here are the Libra archetypes, and I'll give a quick overview of them, and then I'll go more in depth into them after we really get into who's Libra and what's Libra about. So when we're talking about the sensual archetype, this is the lover of form. She is the keeper of the body's temple. She delights in presence and play and pleasure. She teaches that true joy is found in embracing the full spectrum of embodiment with reverence and delight. So her approach to life is frolicking in the fields. She's here to be with her senses, to tune into her senses, to live in her body. She is about embodiment. Life isn't worth living if we're not completely at home in our body. That's what she would say. Then we have the perceiver, archetype 18. So this archetype is about integrity. He's going to see what others overlook, reveal cracks before they spread, and his teaching is that judgment can be transmuted into clarity, healing, and care. He's going to look and find the things that are flawed, that are wrong. He's not just about saying, no, this is wrong. He's about finding solutions. He's about correcting. It's not going to just be enough to say, I don't like this. Well, what would you do differently? And the perceiver is also a projected channel. So when we're in the thralls of criticism and judgment, we have to also remember that if someone's not asking us for our opinion or our advice or our criticism, let's not give it because it's usually not welcomed. But if it's warranted, people are excited about having that critical eye to point out the things that are missing. Generally, when you're criticizing people, they don't like it. But when you're criticizing, oh, this needs to be turned just to the right a little bit to be more balanced. Like, that's good. That brings symmetry, that brings balance. So that's how the perceiver shows up. Then we have the 48, which is the librarian, and she's the keeper of the well of wisdom. This well of wisdom lives in the body. She's going to turn inadequacy, meaning I don't know enough, I don't understand enough, into resourcefulness. If she doesn't know, she knows where to find the answer. She's going to show us that wisdom is found below the surface, and the body opens the way to inexhaustible depth. So she is about going deep. Surface level things are not for her. She's going to master something. She's going to go deep in something. She's going to get her master's degree. She's going to get her doctorate. She's going to have certifications. We want to make sure that those certifications are based on, the love of going deep and not just the inadequacy of I need to have a certification to prove that I know enough, to prove that I'm worthy. Then we have the 57. This is the intuitive. She is a silent listener at the threshold of fear, anxiety, and trust and knowing. So she's going to attune to the subtle frequencies. She's going to guide us to clarity through resonance and teaching that intuition is a birthright. Everyone has it. There's not special people that are psychic. You are psychic too. Everyone is psychic. It's just about your ability to tune in, to tune inward, to tune outward, to listen to the frequencies. Then we have the guardian archetype, and this is the ancient sential of continuity. So he's going to preserve what is sacred and enduring. He's going to also help us look at failure and success and find that failure can be a teacher, but legacy is built when we decide what we want to preserve. So the things that fail may not have been enduring, may not have been able to keep going. There's not continuity in it. It needed to end, it needed to die. But it's going to care about what it carries forward. So it is about building legacy. Much different than the 42, that's the program partner of this, which is about completion, endings, things being done. So you can see in this polarity point between the nomad and the guardian, the nomad is finishing things. The guardian is like, well, no, 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 I don't want this to be done. Let's keep it going. Let's keep moving forward with it. If it wants to preserve something, it'll work really hard to do it. It can also preserve recipes. It can preserve lineages. It can preserve practices. You know, there's many shamans and ayahuasca practitioners that have learned how to do it from scratch from the indigenous, from the people that lived on the land with the plants. And how do you create it? You know, like anything, that's just one thing I'm naming because it is very much with the 32 energy. And if you go on the 64 Doors website, you'll see that the 32 has a lot of artwork that is kind of ayahuascan. That comes from Alvaro Santa Maria. He is an ayahuasca shaman, and those paintings came through his experience and journeys with grandmother ayahuasca. And he has music on there too. So he is preserving tradition. People that do ayahuasca, not do ayahuasca, that serve ayahuasca, they also are trained in icaros, which are ancient songs that you sing to help people go deeper into the journey. If the guardian is not there preserving those songs, they die. And we want to preserve things with the guardian. Then we have the maestro, and the maestro is the bridge between Libra season and Scorpio season. So he's the custodian of values and equilibrium. He refines the laws of life with discernment. He teaches that harmony is cultivated like music, and that we cultivate this through responsibility, patience, and the courage to restore balance. He's very much about balancing things. And he is discerning and deciding what are the values, what are the laws, what does the tribe live by? And he's going to make sure everybody knows these are the laws we live by, and you need to follow them. He could be like the cosmic police officer. The popo. Yeah, but the maestro is actually an orchestrator. Like he's helping the orchestra stay cohesive, stay on note, helping them stay together because there's so many instruments in the orchestra. He's going to make sure that there's harmony throughout the whole piece. And these are the archetypes of Libra season. Everybody clap. Clap, clap. Thank you, Libra archetypes. Okay. All right. I bring up the chart so that if you have your natal wheel, you can see what do you have that lives in Libra. So you can see for me, I have the 46 is my north node, 50 or is my south node, 57 is my Mercury, 18 is my Venus or my IQ, and then I also have a south node in the 18. So go ahead and check out yours and see what kind of activations you have in here. If you have no activations, that just means that there's no preferred way that your Libra comes out. It's kind of like an open center or an undefined gate. You're going to experience the full spectrum of it. For me, I don't have the 32, I don't have the 50 or the 48, so those aren't going to have as much of an influence on my personality. But I am intuitive. I do have the whole channel of judgment, and I do see things that are off or wrong. I think when I was creating this graphic, I was a little bit of annoyed that I couldn't get this yellow thing to be equal. It's like one side is higher than the other, and that really annoyed me, but I had to let it go. because I couldn't figure it out. Anyways, annoying. And the 46 is my south node. And I definitely feel when I'm in my body, when I'm in like delight, and when I am in my aloneness too, I always end up being in the right place at the right time. And like magic just abounds. Like I go somewhere, like if you were to just let me lead, and by lead, I mean we don't know where the hell we're going. We're going in the moment, like sacral beings. Let's go this way. We will end up doing something magical, wondrous. Like we'll find something amazing. I don't know why. That's just how it is for me. And I've convinced myself that I'm lucky, I'm very grateful. And my South Node has to do with, you know, past, like what I've lived in my life and in past lives, what I've mastered. I am serious too. If I'm around serious people, I can be serious. But generally, I like to laugh, I like to play. I'm a frolicker. Unless my fifth line feels judged and then I don't want to frolic. So I really have to help myself get over that fifth line projection. Oh, we don't frolic here. We don't have joy here. I'm not happy. You can't be happy. Oh, see how all the juice just sucks out of life? Yeah, we don't do that. Okay, sorry, I'm just getting over a cold too, so I'm a little bit congested. I got a cold for my birthday, but I'm grateful because apparently things wanted to expectorate out of my lungs, and I'm grateful that those things that were in my lungs are now getting out of my lungs. So, yay! Why do I have that up there? Oh, 50% off of the Setup Zodiac series course and all the other archetype courses. I just forgot to upload an image of Libra season. But if you want the Libra season course, so much more information on there than this introduction that I'm doing here on the call. We go into your chart, we go in and see where's your Libra placements. Also, where's your Venus placement? Because Venus rules Libra. And where's all your seventh house placements? And then we decode that for you. So that's really cool. And if you're interested in going deeper into that, or you have a lot of Libra activations, I'd say get that course because it's going to be good. Okay, moving forward. Oh, and if you're in the inner circle, you already get that course with your membership. So Code Beauty gets you 50% off. All right, let's learn a little bit about Libra season, shall we? September 22nd to October 22nd, this varies slightly every year. Like I said, ruled by Venus, and the symbol is the scales. So the polarity for Libra season, even though we see a lot around femininity and beauty, it's masculine, positive. We're not thinking male, female here. Masculine is just just like receptive, like the second gene key with all yin, or the first gene key with all yang. There's a lot of yang energy. And because we are playing around with the element of air, we're also playing around with the mental realm. The mental realm is, we're thinking about things, it's quick moving. The modality here is cardinal. So remember, we have cardinal, we have fixed, and we have mutable. Virgo is just mutable, and so it's transitionary. It's transitionary. Libra season is cardinal. It's quick, it's fast, it's go, right? Because it's starting, not quick, fast, go. It's starting. Libra herself doesn't generally move quickly. She likes to think about things and weigh options. So cardinal just means to start. It's the beginning. And Venus is the ruler, like I said. And then the seventh house is what it corresponds to, which I mentioned earlier in the presentation around partnership and all of that good stuff. And the perspective here is transpersonal. Up until Virgo, we were in personal land, and now we're moving into where our perspective, how we look at the world, is focused on the other. So working through things in relationship with the other. And that's what Libra is about. Libra is also about balance, beauty, and sacred union. She's really about partnership, finding her person, soulmate, the one. Libra season calls us into the dance of harmony within ourselves, with one another, and with the world around us. So it's a time to attune with what is fair and true, and to let love and justice weigh equally on the scales of the heart. So this is a season of connection, and relationships can become mirrors here, and we want to look at each relationship as a teacher. Beauty also awakens the soul. She's really big on aesthetics. She reminds us that harmony is the art of weaving difference into wholeness. So she is very much about balancing things, about resolving issues and problems. So now is the time to work through the relationship field. So reciprocity is important. And she also helps us understand that when we're relating, we need to keep our hearts open and we want to walk together, not separately. So, how can we come more and more together into union? So, that's kind of what Libra season is about. And here are some of her characteristics. So, I'll give you some positive and negative qualities. Remember, these qualities are going to be amplified during this season. So, you might see that in yourself and other people. But this is the opportunity to be able to use the energy to help support you. So, powers, harmonizing. You want to resolve conflicts. You want to be diplomatic. Libra season is a really great season to do that. She's fair. She's just. She's objective. She can look at multiple sides, multiple perspectives. She's creative, charming, graceful, balanced, collaborative, thoughtful, sincere. She seeks peace, sometimes to a fault, and we'll talk about that later. And she's all about aesthetics. She's attuned, friendly, relational, skilled at mediation. Pitfalls. She can be indecisive. She can think about things for too long. She could not take action. She can just try to figure out, well, which is the best one? Which is the perfect one? Which is the one that we should be doing? She can also be a little bit people pleasing and avoidant of conflict. She could be superficial. She could be about aesthetics, about her looks, about beauty, and not really anything deeper. She can also be overly dependent on other people. She can also seek status. She could be inauthentic because she's trying to fit in or she's trying to people please. She can be overly idealistic in relationships. She can, I mean, we're coming out of Virgo season, so the perfectionist is kind of bleeding into this area. So, how are we bringing that into relationships? She can also be easily influenced or passive. She could lack boundaries. She can strive for external validation, and she can struggles with self versus other and not really knowing about sovereignty. There could be a lot of enmeshment or codependency. And she can also try to maintain peace at the cost of truth. So she's peace seeking, but she might just, push things under the rug or not rock the boat or not go deeper to try to figure out what's actually going on. So that is some Libra season characteristics. If you have a lot of Libra in you, let me know if this resonates, if you can see yourself in this. Okay. Here are a few invitations for this Libra season. So you will want to restore your balance between self and other and allowing yourself to have we time and me time. So honor your needs and the needs of those around you. Try to feel into what others do need. And if you have a lot of Aries activations, now would be a good time to tune into the other. Aries is connected to the first house, and the first house is the house of self. It's not selfish to focus on yourself, but especially when we're in Libra season, Libra's not about that. Libra's like, we got to include the other. It's not just about you. If you've been told that you were selfish in the past, it probably came out of the mouth of a Libra. Probably came out of the mouth of someone that has transpersonal stuff. Or a highly conditioned individual that was trained to self-sacrifice for the other. And we don't want that. We want balance. That's what Libra's about. It's time to cultivate harmony in your relationship. So we want to practice reciprocity, fairness, open-hearted dialogue. Try to bring in some mediation techniques. See if you can find some things that will make conversations easier if they're heated or there's disagreements. How can you practice nonviolent communication? Welcome collaboration and creative exchange as a pathway to growth and deeper connection. I want you to find partnership. I want you to find co-creators, collaborators, people that you want to do things with, friends, business partners, people that you share interest in. This is going to help be very supportive during Libra season. You can also engage conflict with conflict gracefully, seeking resolution rather than avoidance. So if you are a conflict avoider, now is the time to really lean into things. If you're aggressive when it comes to conflict, you might want to learn strategies to help bring a little bit more softness and balance and fairness to it. It's not about getting your way or getting rid of the conflict quickly. It's about doing it gracefully, doing it with an open heart. This is great for surrounding yourself with beauty, art, and spaces that awaken peace within and around you. You can decorate for fall. Bring in some kind of fall aesthetic, whatever you want to do to bring more beauty to your life. And then lastly, I encourage you to learn about your Venus and Juno placements. Juno is about your partnership and relationships. You're going to want to look for the gate, the sign, and the house, and what they reveal about love, partnership, and balance in your life. I'm going to give you a little tidbit really quick. If you go to taraka.io, you can run your own chart. I love this site because we get to get into the asteroids. So once you log in and you get your natal chart pulled up, you're going to come down to this area where it says object, name, type. I want to click on name because I want it to be in alphabetical order. And I want to go down and I want to find Juno. H-I-J. Juno. Okay. So what kind of partners do you attract? I mean, I haven't looked up too much on who Juno is as an asteroid, but it definitely has to do partnerships and relationships. My Juno in the this is design or personality. This is personality and this side is design. Okay, and this is kind of accurate. So I'll go back to my Juno. Juno, where are you? H-I-J. Okay, so we go to Juno. And you can see mine is 49.6, the revolutionary archetype. Do you know who I married? I married someone with an SQ of 49. 49. And then, so that was something that we came together with. And then, so reaction, revolution, rebirth. Someone who has principles. I'm looking for someone with principles. 37.1. I'm also looking for someone who's tender. I'm needing to be tender. I'm learning to be tender in relationships. 37 is looking for the 40. My husband also has the 40 in his moon. So go ahead and check out your Juno. I'd also highly encourage you to look up some of the mythology of Juno because that's going to help you understand Juno as an asteroid and what that means for you in your chart, in your activations. So I think also last year or the other year, Bella and I did a thing on Pallas Athena as well, because we brought her in during Libra season and connected the dots with her in Libra season because we didn't want to do Venus again because Venus is in Taurus, it rules Taurus season and Libra season, and we wanted to not repeat Venus again because we already did it in Taurus season. So we did Pallas Athena, but this year you can focus on Juno. All right, let's come back. Okay, so I'd love to know if you're going to look at your Venus or your IQ sphere, what archetype lives there for you? What gate is Venus in for you? Wonderful. Venus is the idealist for Jen. Is the orator for Care. The alchemist for Michelle. Oh, transmutation. So these are the things we value. So when you're looking at your Venus, it's what you value. Beautiful. Oh, the steward. I changed the name of a couple of them. The 21 is now called the steward, and the 31 is now called the orator. And then the 45 is now called the hub tree. I decided they needed a rename, some of them. They landed better for me this way. And I'll explain them later when we go into transit. Not sure where to find that. So you're going to look at your gene keys and you're going to look at your IQ sphere, or you're going to look at your human design chart and you're going to look for this symbol on the personality side. And that's how you're going to find that. And then you just match the number with the archetype. The steward was called the manager before. You're going to call it the steward, the shepherd, and the 21 is now called the steward because he's stewarding resources. He's like the king's hand. The 45 gives the 21 the resources and he takes care of them, whether it's people or land or money or whatever. The manager is cool, but it's such an overused word and people don't generally have a good connotation with the name manager. We don't use steward a lot and we don't use shepherd a lot. Oh, okay. Well, thanks for putting that in the chat. It's kind of cool to see what we got for Venus, what you guys value. All right. So remember the Libra archetypes that we're going to meet this season. Here are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes we have 6, sometimes we have 7. But these are the 6 that we'll meet that are Libra archetypes. And if you're interested in learning about and beginning to embody these, you can use code BEAUTY to get 50% off of these courses. And you can dive deeper into them. There's a lot of resources. I've added a lot over the years, and I made sure that we have I Ching, astrology, human design, gene keys, teachings, resources. It's going to bridge the gap between all the systems so that you can find everything you need in one place. All right. So how about we dig into these archetypes individually? I do want to speak a little bit to the codon ring of matter as well, because we happen to have all of the archetypes in the codon ring of matter during Libra season. And so this is about incarnation. So the codon ring of matter is actually about the architecture of incarnation, the amino acid that makes these archetypes part of the codon ring of matter is alanine. And the archetypes that are in the codon ring of matter are the intuitive, 57, the sensual, 46, the librarian, 48, and the perceiver, 18. So we're going to start with the sensual, 46, and we'll talk a little bit about who she is and also what her part in the codon ring of matter is. So first and foremost, the codon ring of matter is the ring of embodiment. And matter, this codon ring, is going to hold our keys to incarnation. So it's the way that spirit comes into form. And when we look at the gene key sequences, we're going to find that the codon ring of matter is inside the Venus sequence. So Richard Rudd tends to associate a gene key with a different sphere. And so when we're looking at our core or our vocation sphere, that is going to be coded by the 57. Your SQ sphere is coded by the 46. Your EQ is coded by the 48. And your IQ is coded by the 18. Those are all codon ring of matter archetypes. He did this because it takes 21 years to fully incarnate here on Earth. And so we go through 7-year cycles. So when we're in the core, we're in our mother's wound. I guess we're in our mother's wound and her womb. That's where you get your core wound. So the archetype that codes for the core sphere is the 57. We're intuiting what incarnation on earth is going to look like. In those 3 trimesters of pregnancy, you're actually coding your experiences that you are going to live in the first, second, and third 7-year cycle when you're developing, and learning to be in your body, when you are developing your emotional competency, your mental competency, all of that stuff you're intuiting from your mother's womb, and you're kind of like feeling into the future. And all the things that happen in the womb also have ripple effects in these different phases. And if something happens when, let's say, you're 3 years old, that's 3 years into your first 7-year cycle, if you don't resolve and complete that first trauma point or incident or experience, 3 years into the next cycle, it's going to come back around. It's a spiral. So I hope this is making sense. I don't have a lot of visuals for this, but it's very, very interesting. And so if something happens when you're 3, something's again is going to happen when you're 10, because that's 3 years into the next cycle, and so on and so forth. So, anyways, that's just a little tidbit. But this is the blueprint, the code and ring of matter of incarnation itself. So we've got intuition, embodiment, discernment of integrity, and depth of wisdom. That's going to sustain us. So without those foundations, no higher work of consciousness can endure. So let's get into it. Excuse me. First and foremost, we have the sensual. So the sensual archetype is going to transit from September 21st to September 26th. This is the gate of determination, and the hexagram calls this pushing upwards. This is about the love of the body. So when we're in our body, when we're at home in ourselves, anything is possible. We can bring our determination, our dedication. We can bring our commitment, right? Because we are reaching over to the archetype of the 29, which is that full body yes. It lives in the sacral. It says yes. And then it says, all right, we're going to go on this adventure in our body, all here, all at home, right? If we're disassociating, if we're kind of half in, half out, we're not all committed to it. And so that commitment is important because it brings us full in, it brings us all in. And we want to be grounded, anchored, and in our body when we are engaging in an experience. Because remember, this is part of abstract sensing circuitry, where it's about living an experience and extracting wisdom from it. And so the 46 is here after we say yes to the adventure, right? Just thinking about the hero's journey, we say yes to the adventure. And then the 46 brings us in the right place at the right time with the right people or the wrong people. But still, we're getting what we need to fulfill that hero's journey, to extract the medicine, right? It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows, but life is going to give us exactly what we need. So instead of chasing the good feelings or chasing the good experiences, we have to say yes and commit and say, I'm here, I'm in it for everything, for anything. And so delight, it doesn't mean that you're having a good time. You can have a good time during a bad time, right? You can embrace grief. You can live the totality of anger. You can be in the moment of trauma, of triumph, of all of this because it delights you to be living here on earth in a body. And you're like, thank you. Thank you. May I have more? Thank you. I want this. Thank you. And it doesn't mean it has to taste good to you. It just means I am so appreciative that I get the opportunity to live life on earth. This is what this is about. And it's about the experience. So the sensual is very lucky. We call it the sensual because it's about being in your senses. It's not about being sexual, although it can be. It's about being sensual. It's about tasting life, seeing life, imagining life, like touching life, like being in your body. Like your body has senses. It's about tuning into all of them, even the sixth sense. And that's going to bring us on the path of luck, on the path of serendipity. It's going to bring us there, right? And then ecstasy comes from just this surrender to the experience. And you can feel that even in the moments. Like people have that feeling even during childbirth. It can be a very ecstatic experience. They're surrendering to that moment, to their body doing what it naturally does. They're not getting in the way. They're not resisting pain. The more you resist the contractions and the pain, the harder it is, the more painful it is. But if you can think about it as birth, contractions helping birth the baby, we have to surrender to what the body naturally does and knowing when we need to support it. You know how they say bear down? So the 46 is also pushing downwards, bearing down, helping that baby be born. The body knows. The body knows what to do. The body also keeps the score. So if you are attracting anything into your life that's less than favorable, that's less than pleasurable, it's just we need to have completion with it. We have to finish the cycle. So the 46 is going to code the SQ sphere, so the spiritual quotient. It oversees the first 7-year cycle, so 0 to 7, and she's going to anchor us into the body as a temple. She's going to teach us to trust incarnation, trust being in the body through senses. Why do you think babies put everything in their mouths? They got to taste it. They got to feel it. They got to interact with the world, with their body. They're learning to walk. They're learning to interact with the world. They're crawling, they're walking. They're like curious about life. So this is about the seat of the soul's innocence. Our inner child lives here in the SQ. And that delight and ecstasy, it's child delight. It's where they're laughing out loud. Their bellies are just like, they're just chuckling with their whole being, and their bellies hurt and their faces hurt because they're smiling and they're laughing so much. And you know how children, when they're eating ice cream, it can get all over their face? They don't care. There's no vanity. It's just, I am fully engulfed and involved in tasting life. And it's amazing. They don't care about getting dirty. Let it get dirty. They accept dirtiness. They're like, yep, I love it. I just love it so much. So it's essential is here to open us to joy, to trust in life's timing, and to the miracle of embodiment of being in a body yourself. So here we return to the love of the body and the form, and like, wow, I can't believe I get to be here. I'm spirit in a body. It's amazing. So that's the 46. Let me know in the chat if you have her. And we'll move on to the perceiver. So where the 46 is about the love of the body, here we are coming into the spleen, which is about intuition, also body awareness. But the intuition is here to help us correct, to help us refine, to help us work on what has been spoiled. You see hexagram 18 and gate 18, this is about correction. So we sense that an issue is here in the 58. Okay, I don't really like this. There's dissatisfaction. Things aren't flowing. This isn't moving. That picture is crooked. What do? We call forward the perceiver because they're going to look at things and say, all right, how do I need to adjust this to make it right? They're also very amazing inventors. The 58 does not want to waste vitality, does not want to waste energy. It calls upon the 18 to say, how can we do this in the least amount of time, conserving the most amount of energy? How can we do something that is very practical, very pragmatic? I mean, it's not practical and pragmatic. It's grounded because it's Capricorn. But the perceiver is using the intuition to feel into, all right, I'm going to invent a knife so we can slice this bread so we can have really tiny pieces of bread because we just love that. And if I'm ripping it, I'm getting inconsistent slices. I can't rip it. I need to cut it. So we're cutting the bread and we're making the same pieces. Also, if you're, toasting things or roasting things, they have to be the same slices or sizes because if not, then they cook differently, right? So the 18 is here to also be an inventor, to be like, okay, how can we do this better? That's what it's saying. That's what it's asking. How can this be better? We move from judgment to perfection through the pathway of integrity. We also need to tune in to what's in integrity for me, what's off, what's on, what's right, what's wrong. This is going to code your IQ sphere. You may not have the 18 in your IQ sphere, but Richard assigns the 18 to the IQ sphere because it is at 14 to 21 that we're in our intellectual quotient, our IQ. We're sharpening our discernment, our integrity, and our ability to refine both thought and action. This is where criticism can either become a prison or a tool for clarity. The perceiver is going to call us to refine what we've inherited. What does this mean? Family patterns, societal beliefs, even our own emerging identity. We have to look at what our parents had said to us and said, here's the rule you follow. And then we say, why? Why do I have to go to bed at 8? Why is there a curfew? Why can't I not drive? Why? Da, 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 da. It's going to start to question things. And it's okay for kids to be rebellious during this time because they're trying to figure out, who am I? What do I believe in? If your family has really strong religious or political views and you're like, I don't know if I believe that too. The 18 is the program partner of the 17, which is in the ajna, which is about opinions, about perspectives. So the 18 is going to also be weighing perspectives and how it thinks about things and says, what do I believe? What's in integrity for me? And it's important for kids to start to understand that as they're reaching their adolescence and young adulthood, because that's the foundation for the lives we're building. If we are inheriting or outsourcing that integrity to someone else, we may not be in alignment with our own life, with our own trajectory, because someone else is telling us how to be, how to live. So we need to learn to think for ourselves here. 18.1 is my IQ sphere. So I have that there. And it has been a lifelong journey and discovery and exploration of what do I believe? What is an integrity for me? What is my foundation? What do I stand on? What do I stand for? And I have always been one that has noticed when things were off and when things need to be corrected. And I've learned that to correct people without invitation is annoying. They don't like it. But I'm really good at graphic design. I'm really good at aesthetics. I'm really good at seeing where are things not balanced, where are things off, where do I need to correct things. Sometimes things miss me because let me tell you, when you're creating graphics, you are not in the right brain where you need to edit spelling mistakes. When you're in the right brain editing spelling mistakes, you don't see what's off in graphics. So you have to flip back and forth between the hemispheres of the brain. And it's super interesting. Anyways, so those two that we just spoke of are part of the codon ring of matter. The perceiver is the IQ sphere. So here we are trying to correct, trying to figure out what's the solution for this problem. If the 58 sees something it doesn't like, the 18 is going to correct it and say, this is how we fix it. If you do not have the 18 and you have the 58, you will be so annoyed and so dissatisfied, but you will not know how to fix it. You'll be like, oh, I know I don't like it, but I don't know what to do about me not liking it. And the 18, oh my gosh. If you have too much correction, you are just void of all the juiciness of life. You know what the 58 is called? It's about joy. It's the joyous. If you got no joy in your life, you're just all about what's off, what's wrong. Oh my gosh, how serious, how horrible that would be. We need to bring in the joy, the juiciness, the delight of life. The 58 can be dissatisfied, but when things are flowing and moving, there's so much life force, there's so much amazingness, there's so much vitality and joy in the world and in ourselves. Gratitude. If we consistently seek the things that are wrong and off in our relationships, we're going to lose that ability to be grateful for it. So we have to bring in the 58, especially during this time of Libra season. Bring in the 58 and bring in gratitude. Say, all right, I know not everything is perfect. I know things are off, but what am I grateful for? Why do I love this person? Why do I love this life? Why do I love my job? Bring in gratitude, have an attitude of gratitude, but strive to make things better. We need to have balance. Balance, baby. Okay. Moving on to the librarian. Archetype 48 is in the splenic center. Now we're going to start getting into a lot of splenic center gates as we're moving into this transit, right? We got the spleen, we got the spleen, we got the spleen, we got the spleen, all the spleen stuff. So we're moving through this energy. So this is the gate of depth, and the hexagram is called the well. This is where we get our wisdom from the body, from the spleen, from body awareness. This transits from October 3rd through the 7th, and we move from inadequacy to wisdom from the pathway, through the pathway of resourcefulness. And like I mentioned previously, wisdom is going to be in the body. It's going to be from your living experiences and what you've learned and what you've experimented with. The wisdom is going to come from how much you have developed and dedicated yourself to learning a skill. A skill becomes something you master when you go deep in it. The 48 wants to go deep. It wants to go to the depths of things. It wants to like get down into it and be like, okay, I want, great, this is the formula. Why is this the formula? How much deeper can I go into this formula? It wants to test things with the 16. It wants to experiment. It wants to see, all right, what works, what doesn't. They say in this channel that with the Beatles, John Lennon was the gate of depth. And what was that other guy's name? Paul, whatever, McCartney. He was this the performer, right? So John Lennon wrote the really deep lyrics and Paul McCartney performed and was like the shining light and everyone's like, "Oh, that enthusiasm, that skill." But there was so much depth in the songs, right? If we're so superficial, it's not going to reach people. It could be cool for a moment, but those like movies and music and food, when they have depth to them, it's like every bite, everything that you hear, touch, taste, smell, like there's something deeper in it. And you're like, whoa, I didn't even notice that note of raspberry. I didn't even notice that note of pepper in the wine. I didn't even notice the lyrics and how they're speaking to heartache or surprise or triumph or whatever it is. That's depth. People that have this, it's almost like when they're living life and they're taking in the world, they are building an archive inside of them where if somebody asks a question, it's like they pull out that fact like it's nothing. Oh, yeah, did you know that this was founded in 1867 and this person did this and that? It's like, I didn't know that. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't know where it came from, but I just remembered it. They pull out facts like boom, 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 here are all these facts. They're not good at tests where they need to spit out the facts in a moment. It's like it comes when the moment is right and ripe. And you have to know that if you don't know it in this moment, the answers are out there. You're going to be able to find them. So we have to put our bucket down into the well and trust that something is coming up. And the more we can go within, the more we're going to realize that you have everything you need in this moment. Here's something super practical and some advice that I'd like to offer you. If some of you are dabbling in human design and Gene Keys and you're like, it would be cool. It would be cool to start a business. It would be cool to start doing readings. It would be cool, but I don't think that I know it as much as this person does. This is inadequacy talking. I don't think that I have enough education. I don't have a certification. I don't know what other people know. I just know this much and da 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 da. What I can tell you is it doesn't matter your level of certification. If there is interest, if there is enthusiasm, if there is a spark that says, I think I want to do readings. I think I want to whatever with human design, gene keys, astrology, any of this stuff. I want to say start doing readings now. Even if you don't think you're ready, do them now. I remember in 2017 or 18, 17, I was so excited about Gene Keys human design. And my friend was like, I dare you to make $15. And I was like, huh, all right. What am I excited about? Oh, I'm excited about this. Let me put out a $15 reading. I put out $15 readings, and every single person that booked with me, they didn't leave saying, wow, that was shitty. She doesn't know what she's talking about. Da, 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 da. No, I had exactly what they needed in the moment that they came to me with the knowledge that I already had. So I was giving them information, right? I wasn't a newbie. I wasn't giving them faulty information, but I was giving them what I knew. I was bringing it out, right? I give so much different readings now than I did back then, but I trusted that in that moment, the right people that needed exactly what I had inside of me were going to come. And they did. So you have to trust that whatever you've learned, whatever wisdom you've accumulated is inside of you. And when somebody comes to meet you, you're going to have exactly what they need. You're going to be able to tell them a little nugget of wisdom that you've been saving just for them. Yes, it does matter to get certified and to go deep into the material. But if you have some level of depth, you take initiative on that. Like if you're feeling like don't wait forever, don't get 50 certifications and then say, all right, now I think I'm ready. Now I think that's enough. We have to kind of court this inadequacy, this feeling of, I don't know if I know enough. That is what the librarian's going to say. I don't know if I know enough, and I don't have the books to look up what I need to know. What you know now is perfect for who wants to dip their bucket into your well. You have exactly what they need, and you got to trust the synchronicity of the universe to bring you the people that need to taste your water, right? You are satiating their thirst to know themselves. So trust that you have what they need. So hopefully I see all of you guys putting readings out there. Saying, honestly, too, everybody reads charts differently. You're going to have to figure out what your secret sauce is. And that's going to take time. But you got to start somewhere. And then as you're doing it, you're going to start feeling into, oh, wow. And then your intuition's going to come online. It's not going to be just about the information in the chart. It's going to be, what am I intuiting from this person, from this chart, from this energy, from this field? What do I know about a splenic gate activation? What do I know about the spleen? What can I tell them what can I tell them that's practical that they can use in their life? I'm a 5-1. I have the 57 as my Mercury, so this is kind of how I'm approaching it. But you have to see, how do you approach material information? Presenting things to people. How are you sharing your wisdom? These people want to go deep in other people too. Like, okay, superficial conversations are not for me. Let's go deep. Let me see what's here. If you have the librarian, let me know if that resonates with you. Oh yeah, and I wanted to tell you about the EQ sphere. So let's talk about the 48 really quick before we move on. Where are we at on time? My God, I love talking today. The 48 is in the 7-year cycle, the second 7-year cycle, so the EQ sphere, emotional quotient. This is where fear and insecurity begin to arise, but also where depth and resilience can be cultivated. So she's the guardian of the hidden well, reminding us that beneath fear lies wisdom. And here we begin to learn the art of emotional resourcefulness, to touch the depths of our emotion rather than skimming on the surface, right? Oh my God, I'm so scared. I don't know how to be in this situation. I'm just so scared. Do I run away? Right? With more and more experiences, you gain more tools, more resources to feel competent and confident in any situation that you're experiencing. Hopefully, your parents created enough space for you to emote and they were able to like reflect back to you, oh, I'm noticing anger in you. Oh, I'm noticing sadness in you. And then inquiring deeper, like, what is that? Why is that there? Do you want to talk about it? Because then you are digging into the depth of your own wisdom. Because remember, emotions are data. That data has wisdom for you. If we feel, we begin to heal through, completing that emotional arc, but also looking at, oh, wow, I was feeling angry because my brother took my toy and he said it was his toy, but it was really my toy. And I'm angry because that's a boundary violation. And my toys are my toys. And you have to ask if you want to play with my toys. And the fact that he thinks that's his toy is so absurd to me. And I'm so angry and I want my toy back. Right? We could resort to violence and just be like, give me my toy back and take it back. And then that's how we are using our emotions. But if we have an arbiter, have a mediator, and our parents come in and say, all right, what's the issue here? Let's talk about it. You're angry. You're feeling angry, right? And then the other one, what are you feeling? And we get to understand how to relate to each other, right? So this is my toy. We've identified this is my toy. And if you want to play with my toy, you have to ask me. Because if you don't ask me, I get angry. And that's because part of my values, part of my principles is that I like to be asked if you want to use my things. And then that's wisdom for the relationship, for yourself. And wow, I get really triggered when people take my stuff. Maybe you can go deeper in that and be like, when did I feel, when did someone take my stuff and it really left a mark for me? When was something stolen from me? And does that and this is too much for like a 7-year-old to like go into, but like stealing, what was stolen? What am I perceiving was stolen? Innocence, joy, la la la, what is the thing? And then anytime something is stolen, we have the perception of this deeper thing that we feel the tragedy of being stolen from us, right? So you can see how anger can lead us towards, wow, I am really still upset because I have the perception that my innocence was stolen when da 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 happened. We work through it. We complete the arc. And then guess what? We don't feel as triggered when someone steals our stuff. However, you better believe that the way we're going to live our life is it's not okay for people to steal my stuff. This is not how I live. I don't steal. People can't steal from me, but you're not going to be up in arms and so mad. Amplified the madness. It's just, right? Oh, take off your shoes when you come into my house. I'm not going to throw a fit, but take off your shoes when you come into my house. Okay. Hopefully that was helpful. I love these archetypes. Okay. The intuitive. We're going to have to go a little bit faster with these because we're really getting into it today. The intuitive is October 8th to the 13th. This is the gate of intuition, and it's the gentle wind. So it's wind over wind. It's two of the same trigrams. So she moves from unease to clarity through the pathway of intuition. And the intuitive is psychic. The intuitive is tuning into her senses. She's tuning into her body awareness, her intuition, and she is feeling into the field. Now, depending on what gate the 57 links up with, the intuition is used in a different way. So we're intuiting our behavior with the 10, how to be, who we are, intuiting in the now with the 20, correct use of power, right? How to use our power, our in with the 34. 34 is about power. This is about intuition. This is about love of self, of being, and this is about the now. So when all of these come together, it's about like correct behavior, correct intuition, correct feeling into things in the now, correct power, correct use of power, behavior of the power, all this stuff. So the 10, the 57 is actually connected to the right ear. And so intuition is kind of this listening inward. There's a couple people who have the 57 as their life's work, and they are profound psychics, intuitives. And there's this one woman that I used to work with. Her name is Allie Horner. She is a psychic, an intuitive, and she lives in Colorado, and she actually is one of those sit down, come sit with me and I'll give you a reading, and she intuits into their field. She's a 1-3, so 57.1 is her life's work, and she is clairaudient, so she hears. She hears spirit, like as conversation, not as like a knowing, like a hearing, like auditorily. I hear someone talking in conversation form to me. Not everybody can do that. Some people are just intuitive in forms of I know, like it's a package of information that you just know. Some intuitives are feeling through their body. Their body is informing them of the information, right? There's all sorts of different intuitives. Because this is part of the splenic center, it is connected to the body. So we are experiencing this sense in the body. And the 57 is the fear of the future. So the unease comes from, I don't know where this is going. I'm nervous because I can feel something in the field, and it's bringing this agitation, it's bringing this unease. And so the fear of the future is gonna make them kind of lean towards the future. But remember, we want to be now. A lot of the senses are about being in the right place at the right time, orienting yourself in the now. The psychic senses, because this is part of individual circuitry, we usually think psychics are giving information for us, but it's going through their own filter. And this is psychic information that is generally for you because it's individual circuitry. People can benefit from intuition that comes through you because they're on the fractal, they're resonating with it. You can pick up information that is just for them. But this intuition, this clarity, it comes from tuning into the subtle senses more than just what you're seeing, feeling, touching, here, all of this stuff in the now. It's like the sixth sense. What's behind the field? What's the information behind the physical and the energetic? And that's the intuitive. And like I said, the 57 codes the core or the vocation sphere. And because this is the time you spent in your mother's womb, what's happening during her pregnancy is happening to you, is also informing different experiences that you're going to have in your 3 7-year cycles. So the first trimester of you being in your mom's womb is orchestrating, is coding, is intuiting everything that's going to happen from 0 to 7 in the SQ sphere. Second trimester is coding, intuiting what's happening in the EQ sphere in 7 to 14 years of age. And then obviously you've found the pattern. third trimester of pregnancy codes and intuits that last cycle of incarnation, 14 to 21, the IQ sphere. So everything that you're going to live through, go through, grow through, you're intuiting in the womb, right? You're building out your life and things that are happening to your mother, like if the umbilical cord gets wrapped around your neck, there's something that will happen in one of your phases of life. That doesn't mean you're going to have something wrapped around your neck. It just means that you're trying to have completion because you're an immature little baby that doesn't know how to deal with any of these shocks. So any shocks or trauma that happens in the womb gets repeated in real life so that you can resolve. I've talked about Groff before, and he did a lot of LSD experiments, and his people always returned to the womb. And when they resolved something in the womb, they resolved any of the things that were showing up in their life. They're like, I can't get over this addiction. I can't get over this thing, or da 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 da. And it always led back to the womb. And when we resolve the womb stuff, we move through the stuff that is obstacles in our life right now. So that's the intuitive. Then we have the guardian. So I spoke a lot about the guardian in terms of, you know, shamans and people that are preserving things. Remember, this is the gate of continuity. We want to keep things going. It's going to transit from October 14th to the 19th, and this is about duration. Hexagram 32, keeping things going. Failure would be something ends. Failure to thrive. Ending of life. Done with something. Failure connected to success, too. Oh, I thought that that was going to be successful, and it's not. Preservation and veneration have to do with, all right, when something ends, what am I taking with it? What knowledge, what wisdom, what teachings, what learnings am I taking with me, carrying with me? What did you learn on that journey that you're continuing to move forward with? What recipe are you going to pass down to your kids? There are things that we are carrying forward. And that's something that is during this time, it's a great time for you guys to ask yourself, well, what am I preserving? The power of love. Is there an ideal that maybe you're preserving? We're coming into Scorpio season as we get into the 50. So, whatever is corrupt, whatever is bringing us out of equilibrium and harmony, is not going to continue forward. We have to kill it in Scorpio season. It has to die. So, whatever we are reconciling and struggling with this 32, like, I don't want it to end. The 42, the program partner is coming in saying, but it must end. It is done. It has completed. Okay, great. If it is ending, what is continuing from this ending? What knowledge, what wisdom, what am I taking with me? Because you can't take everything with you. It's like that movie, is it Office Space? I don't know. That guy that wants to take his stapler with him. And he's like, this is my stapler. I'm going to take this with me. It's like, what are you taking with you from your desk as you lose your job? Like, what is yours to take with you? What did you learn from that job? What are you carrying with you? What are you not going to do again? There is something that you are bringing forward. There's a continuity. It doesn't just end. Not everything just ends. There's something you have to carry with you, the seeds of wisdom. Otherwise, you're just going to repeat cycles, which the 42 loves to end things, right? The program partner, it loves to end things. But if you're not learning from that, you're just going to start that cycle all over again because you didn't extract the wisdom. The 32 is going to make sure, let's get the wisdom. Even if it ended in a way that I didn't think it was going to end and I'm perceiving it as failure, how do I make it a win? How do I make it a success? That's what the guardian is going to do. Lastly, we have the maestro. Maestro is going to come in from October 20th to the 24th. This is about values. It is about laws. It is about rules. It is about how we're educating and bringing up children, bringing up society. We call it the cauldron in hexagram 50. So you can literally think of it as a cauldron in the belly, like refining things, boiling things, like what what gold are we finding on the end of the process? And we want to move from corruption to harmony through the pathway of equilibrium. When we are looking at the beginning of the wheel, usually the beginning comes at gate 3. Gate 3 is difficulty at the beginnings. It is about beginnings. And so what's the halfway point? The 50. And so here we're new, we're fresh, we are innocent, we can be immature, we are beginning things. We are also Aries, and that is cardinal, and that is the first house, that is learning who we are. Now we're getting to Libra Scorpio. We've gone through a lot of experience, right? And we're here to grow up. We're here to feel into, well, what do I value? What have I learned? What do I live by? What have I been conditioned into? And corruption is corruption in the field, corruption in the DNA, corruption that we need to bring back into harmony. So, what values, what laws, what rules did we take on that are not serving us, that are not serving humanity, that we maybe inherited from our family, from our lineage? And it's actually causing a lot of upheaval or struggle or imbalance in our lives. And how can we right those wrongs? Because you have a code of ethics inside of you. Your culture, your religion, your political views, the things like you may be informed in saying, this is how we live, right? But you have a code inside of you that you're meant to live by, that nobody else can impose on you. So we're trying to feel into what values, what principles, what things do I want to agree to, right? The cross of laws happens to have the 50 and the 3 and the 60 and the 56 in it as well. And so this is about literally, what rules do I want to live by, right? And if yours are incongruent with society, you might get in trouble for the things that you're doing. And the 50 is about being the police officer of the tribe. It's like, hey, these are the rules that we live by, and you need to grow up learning these rules. So the 50 and the 27 work together to bring up the children, to instill these rules, these values in them. It says we care about life, we care about others, we leave things better than we found it. We treat others the way we want to be treated. We're teaching these rules, these laws to live by. Sometimes we are taught things, not even overtly or directly, we're taught things that are not beneficial to us. For example, big boys don't cry. That can be literally, they can be like, big boys don't cry, don't cry. Then you're suppressing tears. You're not feeling. Or your mom couldn't handle her emotional wave, so she just masked it. Or she drowned it to numb it. And so we're being taught that emotions are big, they are not welcome, and I need to find a way to hide them. If that's the law we're living by, then there's no place for emotions. And we are also taught to exile ourselves, to self-betray ourselves. And so that's corruption. So how can we look at what we've learned, who we are, that's not in congruency with who we are at our core, and what's going to bring us back into balance? So that's what we're doing with this, is bringing things back into balance. When Richard and Ra, they talk about 7 years on the wheel. So this walking the wheel, when you've walked the wheel for 7 years, 7 years is how long it takes for cells to turn over, to master something, to make it so that all the cells are following that code. So if you start learning Gene Keys Human Design Astrology after 7 years, it's like second nature to you. You just are in tune with it. If you're living your strategy and authority, if you've been practicing it. So at the 50 mark, this is halfway through. When you start your walking the wheel experiment, you start at gate 3. And this is not like starting like in Aries season on gate 3. No, it's like the day that you start learning about gene keys and human design or whatever, you're on day 1. And day 1 happens to be in gate 3. So after that 7 years, you're back to gate 3. You have completed a whole cycle, and that whole cycle lasts 7 years. I hope I'm making sense. I'll put a book in the chat that is 7 years on the wheel if you want to look at Richard's explanation of this. But anyways, when we get to gate 50, the reason this gate is so important is because you are halfway through. It's meaning half of your cells have subscribed to the code of gene keys, of human design, of knowing yourself, of understanding yourself. Half of your cells are operating in the new operating code. Anything after this, you know what that is? That's the quickening. That's the rest of your cells are coming online and saying, wow, there's way more cells that believe in this than cells that don't. And so now they're all getting on board. And it happens faster and faster and faster because this is the tipping point. So that's what this 50 is. And the maestro is hopefully we're using these systems to bring ourselves back into balance. And hopefully, I mean, these systems, gene keys, human design, even the 64 archetypes, all these systems were brought through by individuals who are inherently flawed. Nobody's perfect. And so we have to use our own discernment to feel into what's true for me, what's right for me. If you didn't want to or believed in certain aspects of it, fine. But if something is working for you and bringing you into more harmony, understanding yourselves, mastering yourselves, sharing your mastery with the world, then that's good for you. But you have to discern and decide, what do I want to subscribe to? What values do I am I instilling in me? And I love Richard Rudd's approach to shadow, gift, and city because it gives us something to work with, right? Like, where's the corruption in the shadow? And how can I get resourceful to learn the skills that I need to bring myself into equilibrium? I want to be able to shift between shadow, gift, and city fluidly. We're not going to resist the shadow. We're going to enter it and be like, okay, what lives here? I'm going to find the corruption. I'm going to find the thing that's off, and we're going to bring things into equilibrium. That's what the 50 cares about. Let's get into balance. And perfect to be that bridge between Libra and Scorpio season because Libra is about balance and the maestro cares about it. He's going to tell when things are off, are swayed. My husband has the 15 as Pluto, and you better believe if the camper is not level, he feels it. I don't have the 50 and the more he talks about it, the more I start to feel that 50 in him. I'm like, wow, that's that 50 talking. It knows when things aren't balanced. It's like, no, this is off. He starts to get vertigo. And I think that that's what we can look into is like, where am I feeling vertigo in myself? Where am I off kilter, off balance? And how do I bring myself back into balance? Oh my gosh, we did it. We did it. Or I did it. Thank you for listening. All of the archetypes that are Libra archetypes we've just been introduced to, we've made a connection with, and hopefully as we are walking through Libra season, we decide that we want to get to know them more deeply and help them, help us, bring us into harmony. Because that's the purpose of this wonderful Libra season. And that is that is a wrap for the introduction to Libra and the archetypes. And now we get to continue, but you guys get to talk about Libra season and the archetypes, or we can talk about the sensual archetype. Sometimes she's portrayed as an innocent little girl, and sometimes she's portrayed as a mature woman who is in her body feeling the feelings, feeling the senses of everything that's around her. I love this little nod to like the water goddess because they come together in the channel of discovery. And this feels so much like the sensual and the water goddess together. So I call this image discovery. Enjoy.